So today I'm going to cover off 5 ways to stand out in the cleaning industry. So this is really important because the reality is the vast majority of cleaning businesses out there just don't make very much money. However, there are companies out there that make a really good profit. And the difference with them is that they are seen by the market as offering a service that is very different. They're not your bog standard cleaning company. They're offering all the different services. When you go to their website, it's very clear that their service is different. So this is what I want to cover off in today's video. The reality is if you have a differentiated service, it allows you to set your prices. You can set a price higher than the average market price. It allows you to generate more profit, to reinvest and grow the business, and ultimately pay yourself more as the business owner. So let's jump straight into it. So first of all, we need to specialize. So if you look at all the competitors in your location, go to Google, type in cleaning companies and just click on the first 10 companies. The likelihood is that it will be very difficult for you to really understand how cleaning company A is different to B and how B is different to C. They will probably look like they all offer the same types of services. Maybe they do residential cleaning as well as office cleaning. Maybe they cover the same areas. They talk about the quality. But if you are running a cleaning business and you are you basically look like all the other companies in your area, you're not going to be able to charge these higher prices. You will have to charge a price that the market sets. And the reality is that the market price just will not generate you a very good profit margin. So this is where specialization is key. This is something I talk about an awful lot on the channel. So it needs to be very clear when someone goes to your website why you are different. So maybe you have a strong eco focus in your cleaning business. You use eco products, you drive around in electric vehicles. That is a good option. Another option is to talk about, to focus on the very premium end of the market. Maybe you only recruit the very best cleaners. I know in my business, we only recruited less than 1% of all cleaning candidates that applied to us. We would bring on staff that worked in the 5-star hotels across the city. We would give gifts to our clients, little chocolates, bottles of wine, things like that. So our aim was very much pitching at the very top end of the market. These wealthy people, these cash-rich, time-poor professionals and families, that was really where we were aiming for. So our website, wanted to appeal to those groups of clients as well. So specialization is really important because if you are the only company in town that is the real go-to eco cleaning company out there, you should be able to charge a higher price than the rest of the other cleaning companies out there. If you can charge a higher price, it means more profit to reinvest, more profit to pay yourself. So this is probably the most important thing about how to stand out against all your competitors. So point 2 is then customer service. So, good customer service is, perhaps an obvious thing to talk about, but the reality is you do the same thing. You Google the cleaning companies in your area and call the top 10 companies that you come across. I would be amazed if even 50% of those companies pick up the phone. So straight away, if you have a company and your customer service is actually a really important thing of what you do, you obviously need to make sure that you're picking up all the phone calls. If you, as the business owner, are running the day-to-day operations, you can obviously track any missed calls. But if you have a virtual assistant or an office manager, it's really important that you track this missed call rate. We want to minimize the missed calls. Obviously, if you are on the phone with another client and you can't take that call, there needs to be a professional sounding voicemail. If someone leaves a voicemail, you need to get back to them quickly. So the phone is still probably the most important medium to use for managing your clients and potential clients. As well as the phone, obviously if someone is emailing you, a quote request, or a client is asking about some particular thing that they want changing for the next service, we need to get back to those people very quickly. And it certainly shouldn't get to the point where clients are chasing you. They've sent you an email but not heard from you by the end of the day, so they're calling you up. You should never get to that position, because If you are providing a service where you are trying to charge a high price, you will need to, whether it's an eco cleaning company, a premium cleaning company, whatever type of company that you're running, if you're charging a premium price, you need to make sure that your customer service really backs that up as well. So being responsive, being receptive to feedback. The other area is obviously, we can't expect every single clean to be a 10 out of 10 service. Things will go wrong, things will get missed. And it's really how you deal with the more negative feedback that really positions you out from the rest of the competition. So if you do get a bad piece of feedback, you need to get back to the client and follow it up and make it right. You can either send the same cleaner back to clean those areas that have been missed. You may look to give money off if it's an issue with that cleaner, and maybe there's been a couple of issues in the last few weeks. You might propose changing to a different cleaner. So dealing with that feedback is a really key part of the customer service mix as well. But at a basic level, if you pick up all your phone calls, if you get back to emails quickly, and if you deal with negative feedback well, again, this will position your company well ahead of the rest of the competition. So if you're finding the content helpful today, please like and subscribe. It really helps me to understand which videos that you guys are finding useful, and I can create more of those as well. So let's jump on to point 3. So point 3 is setting expectations. So this is something that I never really appreciated how important it was until my cleaning business had been going for a few years. So the way to really delight customers, and this really follows on from what we were talking about on the customer service piece, is how you set your expectations and how the service delivery compares to the expectations that you were set originally. So, we need to be very clear what we can provide, the time we can provide it, the pricing. If we set that level and we beat what the client is expecting, then you will get clients that are happy, you'll get clients that rate you well, you'll get clients that give you lots of 5-star reviews on Google and Facebook, and we all know how important that is for SEO. On the flip side, let's say we have someone calling in, what I would call a more high maintenance client. They send you a very lengthy checklist. They follow up with a call and want to go through all the detail. You take a huge amount of time. The reality is that client is probably, it's going to be hard to really please that client, because they have a long list of things. Inevitably, not every single item will get covered off to the standard that they're looking for. So when we come across these more high maintenance clients, we know that rather than saying yes to everything, and certainly this is a very common issue, particularly at the beginning of your cleaning business, that you try and say yes to everyone, take on every cleaning client. In actual fact, you want to take on those clients where the expectation of what you can deliver is very clear in their mind, and as the business that you can send in your cleaning staff and they will do it. They will certainly hit those standards, if not exceed them, because the quality of the service, the ratings are a hugely important part of running a cleaning business. There are lots of cleaning businesses out there. If you check their Google ratings, you'll see that it's really very variable. Some cleaners do a great job, some ratings are really bad. You get very few where the ratings are consistently high. The way that you can get those consistently high reviews is by exceeding the expectations that were set in the first place. So setting expectations is really important. Point 4 is then consistency. So, ultimately we are still dealing with a people business. We are sending in cleaners to clean for clients. We will never get 2 cleaners do or perform the exact same service. Even the same cleaner, one week they may do a really great clean. The next week, whatever reason, maybe they're feeling a bit off color, maybe the cleaning's not quite up to the standard of the previous week. So by being involved in the people business and sending people to provide a service, there will be some inconsistency in the business. However, what we need to try to do is to try to minimize this inconsistency as much as possible. This is why I think checklists are really, really important. We can't simply just send in one of our cleaners to clean a 2-bedroom apartment and just tell them to get on with it and to do that every week. One week they may spend more time in the bathrooms, another week they may spend more time in the kitchen. This inconsistency can often lead to mixed feedback. If one client sees they've done a great job in the bathroom one week, but then the cleaner decides, okay, the next week I'm going to spend more time in the kitchen. If that client then goes to the bathroom and sees that not everything has been cleaned to the same standard as the previous week, that can initiate a complaint. So consistency is really important. So use checklists and share those checklists with your clients and your cleaners so they know exactly what to expect every single week. Consistency is a really, really key part, of this. And then you will see spikes in inconsistency, particularly when cleaners change. So, let's say, you have a cleaner, they're off on vacation for a couple of weeks, and you send a fill-in cleaner on standby to one of your recurring clients. Inevitably those two cleaners will be slightly different, but again, we need to be clear on what the checklist involves, as well as any other specific things that client requires. And you want to make sure that whichever scheduling software you're using, you have client notes so that can, those instructions, those checklists can be handed over to the cleaner covering as well. So when you get inconsistency in service, this is where, this is more the norm. If you are getting a very consistent service across the same cleaners, across the same cleaner and across different cleaners in your organization, again, this will really put you ahead of the competition. In an unrelated area, McDonald's is, whether you are based in the East Coast in the US, in the UK, Australia, wherever in the world, they have a very consistent service. That fries are going to taste the same wherever in the world broadly. A hamburger is going to be the same wherever. So this is why McDonald's can really grow their business, and they have a very successful business, because although people may question the quality of the product, there can be no denying that the consistency of that product is broadly the same across the world. And this is what we want to try to bring into our cleaning business. We want to try to keep that consistency of our service delivery in our business, and this will put us well ahead of the competition. So then point 5 is then going above and beyond. Once we have these core 4 parts that I've talked about set up in our business, then we can try to think of creative ways to really delight our customers. So it's delighting our customers and our cleaners, because if you have really, really happy cleaners and clients, they will stay with you for a long time. They will refer similar people to your business, and there's no better way to scale your business than word of mouth referral. So some of the things that we did, in our cleaning business on the client side would be, every so often we would drop off a box of chocolates with the client. It would be very obvious, if, say, a particular client was celebrating, say, a birthday or some, wedding or something like that. Our cleaners would go in and, they would say, okay, I've seen it's client's birthday. We would probably go in and drop off a small present for them. Particularly for these recurring clients, it's really important. These clients don't expect these types of things. So if it does happen, again, 99% of cleaning businesses out there aren't doing these types of things. So if you go in there, this is a real talking point. You probably get some great feedback. Those clients will probably tell their friends to use you. It's unexpected. It really delights the client. So this really takes your customer service up to the next level. On a similar note, with your cleaners, we know that one of the most challenging parts of growing a cleaning business is, attracting good quality staff and retaining those staff and bringing on similar staff to grow the business. So we need to make sure that our cleaners are happy. Obviously we need to make sure that they're being paid well. We need to make sure that we're treating them well, and showing interest and having an engaged workforce is an extremely important part of this. But once you have that in play, again, you can use similar things, to to keep them really, really happy. Birthdays, take them out for coffee or send them some tickets for a movie, send them flowers, things like that. Other things that we would used to do like Cleaner of the Month competition. The top rated cleaner for that month based on the ratings would get a present of some sort, gift vouchers, as I said, champagne, whatever it is. 99% of cleaning companies out there just don't do this. So, this is really, really unexpected for the cleaners. So if you're paying them well, paying them at the top of the market, if you're showing interest in what they do and trying to help them with their day-to-day job, as well as sending these gifts to them, you will find that it is, there aren't any other companies out there that can really offer these cleaners what you do. You will retain them for longer. If they have friends or family who are also cleaners at a similar standard, you can bring them into the business and you will retain these high quality staff for the long term. So going above and beyond will really take your business to the very next level. So once you have these 5 things in place, you are able to charge higher prices, you will generate more profit, you can reinvest that profit, do interesting things like gift your clients and gift your cleaners, spend money on your website, do more branding, more marketing. And marketing is really where I see that you're throwing fuel onto the fire. Many people go in and invest in marketing really before they have their core foundation of their business in place. But once you get these 5 things nailed down, once your pricing is right, then throwing fuel onto the fire with marketing will really accelerate the growth of your business. So in this next video, I'm just going to give you a broad overview into what I believe is the #1 market strategy for your cleaning business. It will really take you through some of the basics about where you want to go once you have your foundation in place. And this really will help to accelerate the growth of your business. So I'll see you on the next one.